I gotta show you guys this cup I got from Nessa at Nessa's Nook. I wish you lived next door. Nessa with Michigan and Melanie with Maine. Isn't that awesome? I can't wait to get a cup of coffee in that. I was ready to pour a cup and I'm like, wait, no, I haven't showed it yet. I have to show it. If you guys haven't checked out Nessa's channel, go check that out. Hi everyone, welcome to A Godly Home. Today I'm going to be making some homemade tomato soup for my grandmother, and I'm going to start by putting a good amount of olive oil into my pan. And then to that, I am going to add some onion and carrots and celery. Let's start the oil heating up on medium heat. I've got a great big, huge onion here that I'm going to be cutting up. And we will use probably just half of that onion for the tomato soup. Now, I am going to be putting all my veggie scraps into the crock pot for veggie broth. I've already got some asparagus ends in there because I made some cheese-covered asparagus with Italian breadcrumbs on top for my grandmother to have with this. I'll cook the vegetable broth overnight and then strain it out and put it into canning jars in the freezer in the morning. Okay, 3 big stalks of celery. I've washed them really well. I'm going to throw these great big ends into the crock pot for the veggie broth, and then I'll dice the rest up and get it sauteing. I'm sorry guys, when I make these meals for my grandmother and you guys ask me to film them, it's not the best film job. You know, I've got a million things going on the days that I'm cooking for her, and I just kind of crank them out, and I'm not paying much attention to how it's actually filming, and I do apologize for that, but it's not enough hours in the day is what I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm going to do a whole pound of carrots up. And you don't need to watch me do a whole pound of carrots peeled and sliced. I'll be back when they're done. Okay, there it is. I'm going to just saute this until it's a little bit brown. And while that's happening, let me show you what else I got going on. These are tomatoes from my garden last year that I washed and cored and froze. And once they've been frozen, you can just peel the skin right off. It will just slide right off. So I'm going to work on getting those peeled and ready for the soup. Okay, there's the tomatoes all peeled, and I'm going through with these scissors and chopping them up a little bit. I put the tomato peels into the crock pot for the vegetable broth, and these will go into the tomato soup. Okay, you can see those are starting to get pretty brown. And to that, I have a jar of vegetable broth I pulled out of the freezer that I already had made. We'll put that right in there. Then we'll add all of these tomatoes. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Then I've got some raw honey. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there, if I can get the cover off. Good tablespoon of that. Then we're going to need some salt. I'm going to use some seasoning salt. Good amount. I'm going to put in a good amount of pepper. Then we've got basil. We'll put a little bit of basil in there. Probably a couple tablespoons. Then I'm going to add some water. Okay, and I'm going to add 2 beef bouillons. We're going to bring this to a boil, turn it down to simmer, and cover it. So while we're waiting on that tomato soup, this is going to be my vegetable broth. I've got the tomato peels, the carrot peels, the onion tops and peels, the bits of celery, and then I have all these pieces of asparagus. And when I cooked my asparagus today, when I boiled it, I dumped the water in here. Now I'm just going to add some more water. I'm going to put just a little bit of salt in there. And turn it up on high for the night. Oh my goodness, guys, I almost forgot. This is not necessary, but I have some plain tomato sauce here left over from yesterday, and I'm just going to pop that in there. So it's been simmering about an hour and it's still not done. I'm going to let this go a couple more hours. The recipe said an hour, but it needs longer. I added a couple more bouillons after trying it, another splash of olive oil, and about the same amount of balsamic vinegar that I added before. And it still needs a little something. I'm going to try a pinch of thyme in there. So I'm going to let this simmer, I think, until I go to bed. It's like 8 o'clock now, so we will be back. I've also decided to add a clove of garlic to this. The recipe didn't call for it, but it just doesn't have that zing that it should have. Okay, so I do not have a immersion blender, and that's what I really should have had for this. So I just used a potato masher and mashed it up a little bit. But there is the finished soup, and I had a tiny little bowl of it just to taste it for flavor. And after adding those extra ingredients, it is absolutely perfect and so delicious. I'm going to get it into jars at this point. And that is the results of the vegetable broth from the scraps. Look how beautiful that is. I'm going to go ahead and jar that up and freeze it. And here are the results: 4 quarts of the homemade tomato soup and 5 pints of the broth. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.